In this episode of the Motor City Hypnotist Podcast, we are going to talk about lucid dreaming. What is it, why it could help you, and how you can do it. And as usual, I'm also giving away a free hypnosis guide. Stay tuned.
Get ready for the Motor City Hypnotist, David R. Wright, originating from the suburbs of Detroit, Michigan. He has hypnotized thousands of people from all over the United States. David R. Wright has been featured on news outlets all across the country and is the clinical director of an outpatient mental health and hypnosis clinic located just south of Detroit, where he helps people daily using the power of hypnosis. Welcome, the Motor City Hypnotist, David R. Wright.
What is up, people? This is David Wright, the Motor City Hypnotist, back with another episode of the Motor City Hypnotist Podcast. Woo-hoo! Thanks for joining us. We have an interesting one today, which we'll get into very shortly, but I want to thank you for listening in. I'm here at the Podcast Detroit Northville Studios. In the booth, as always, is Matt Fox.
Happy to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely. So let me tell you where you can find me. My website is motorcityhypnotist.com. You can find the podcast page there. Podcast blog page are kind of put together, but you can see both of those things there and all the show notes from all of the podcasts. You can visit my store where we have lots of fun and interesting and useful products for you. And you can also follow me on social media, on Facebook and YouTube at Motor City Hypnotist, at Twitter at Motor City Hypno, and also on Instagram, Motor City Hypno. And if you would like to contribute financially to the show, I also have a Patreon page set up under Motor City Hypnotist. And Patreon's a platform where you can just make a small monthly donation and just get extras. That's what I like to call them. Even at the lowest level, you can get a T-shirt, a mug. Actually, I have for those of you on video, you can see I have
Look at that sexy shirt.
T-shirt
That's
on.
a sexy shirt.
This could be yours. if you help me on Patreon, you get one of these, and then you can show off the show as well. So that helps as well. So yeah, if you can consider contributing financially, I'd greatly appreciate it. Find me on Patreon and at Motor City Hypnotist. And again, as I do with every episode, I always give away my free hypnosis guide, and the link to that download will be in the show notes as well. And one of the most important things is wherever you're listening, whether it's iTunes, Spotify, wherever it is, it'd be great if you could just subscribe to the show and also leave a review. We like to see comments and look at the reviews, and I want to make this show for you. So let me know what you want to hear about, and it's something we can work in. That would be fantastic. And also, please join me each week as I co-host the Psyched by MG podcast with my friend Mary Grace, where we also cover a lot of mental health issues. And in fact, if you're here, it will be on Facebook Live at about 6:30 this evening, if you're following on Facebook Live right now. Interesting, I'll plug that show quickly. We're going to be talking to an expert who's written a book on the hookup culture for young people. I have an 18-year-old, so this is going to scare me to death. Yeah. I'm just, it's these times I'm glad I have a boy and not a girl.
Having three daughters, I
boy.
feel, I'm right there with you.
That would be tough. Yeah. So this episode of the Motor City Hypnotist Podcast is brought to you by Banner Season. Online marketing is saturated and people are rarely open their emails. Are you in sales or does your business market to I'm going to read this again and mess it up again. Are you in sales or does your business market to customers? How do you connect with family, friends, and clients? Banner Season takes your marketing into the real world by delivering kindness and thoughtfulness directly to your clients physically. Imagine the excitement of your family, friends, and customers as they receive personalized cards and gifts in their mailboxes. Go to bannerseason.com/fantastic and begin today to express kindness and make connections with others. Again, that's bannerseason.com/fantastic. And again, disclaimer, I am an affiliate for this service. Doesn't cost you any more, but I do get a little cut. So just wanted to put that out there so I'm totally transparent. I messed that read up, and maybe I mess it up on purpose, just so I can play.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it, and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
I've never been that upset, and hopefully I won't be with any type of a read here, although it might be interesting for you to hear and watch, but yeah, probably won't happen. So again, thanks for being on the episode, and we always start out our episodes with...
That's how winning is done.
It is winner of the week time.
All right.
Actually, this week there are two winners because they were together. So the winners of the week are Zach I think it's spelled Regan, R-E-G-A-N. It's either Reagan or Regan, and Maddie Johnson. So I'll just quickly read the story. Two friends were out on a surfing trip when they saved a dog stuck in a sea cliff cave. On August 1st, I know it's a little bit past, but Zach Regan and Maddie Johnson were off on an overnight adventure on Vancouver Island's remote west coast. With everything they needed to go surfing, fishing, it was set up to be a great trip. They were out in their small aluminum boat when out of the corner of his eye, Maddie saw the brown legs of an animal in a cave. It was too small to be a bear or a wolf. I guess that's a good thing.
Right.
I want to be paddling over to a bear. It was a starving, cold, terrified dog. We were trying to beat an upcoming storm, but we made the decision to save the dog, Maddie Johnson tells GNN. That's the reporting agency. The pair's rescue mission was on. It involved a wetsuit, a surfboard, a lasso, almost being bitten in the face, a reef, big waves, and awesome teamwork.
Wow.
Once the dog, Stella, was safely in their boat, they snuggled her in a bag to keep her warm. Then once on dry land in Canada again, they began their search for the owner. Maddie said there were great vibes all around when the owners, long since consigned to the death of their dog, got word that she was safe. How long do you think this dog was gone?
Well, for one, I just had to say, as the owners were walking down the beach looking for the dog, what were they yelling? Stella!
Stella!
All right, so
I thought the same thing, Matt.
I would say the dog was probably missing, I would say, a week.
3 months.
Holy! All right.
3 months missing.
So she survived like Tom Hanks did in Castaway.
Apparently.
Yeah.
The last word of the story is or the last sentence of the story, last couple of sentences. The owners were amazed to see their pet again. They thought they'd lost their dog forever when they became separated on the wild Juan de Fuco Trail 3 months prior.
Wow. So were they visiting the trail, or where are they from?
That's a good question. They don't go into a lot of details. I do have the link to this story will be on the show notes if listeners want to look that up. But it's a great story. These two cats are just out surfing, have fishing, doing whatever, and they found this dog in a cave. And I'm just wondering, what did the dog survive on for 3 months?
Jellyfish.
I mean,
crabs.
And surprising that it wasn't die from hypothermia or just it's just amazing.
Was it wet for 3 months? Was it?
They had a picture of the dog. It was kind of I'm going to say it was a medium size, kind of a terrier type dog. So it wasn't like it was like a big tough dog.
Right.
Although, who knows? Maybe this is he must have been a tough dog to last for 3 months. So anyway,
it was a bigger dog when it first got lost.
It could have been. It was probably much smaller. So to Zach Regan and Maddie Johnson, you are our winners of the week.
Thanks, fellas.
That's how winning is done.
That is how winning is done. So let's get on to our subject. We're talking today about lucid dreaming. Now, I may even say that term, and many of you out there might think, well, what the heck is that? I don't even know what that means.
From when we talked about this last episode, you had talked about how you have control. Right?
At times.
Okay. That's what I think when you say lucid dreaming. Right. That's where my brain goes. is that you have control.
So let's just tap into dreams for a minute, because dreams occur when you're in the REM stage of sleep. That's when you're deepest asleep.
Okay.
And that's when your subconscious mind is the most active during the night. And we all know our subconscious minds are really screwed up. That's why that's why dreams are sometimes so bizarre.
You don't
and
know
just
me.
out there.
You don't know me.
Tell me some of your dreams, Matt. We'll find out. But because your subconscious is active, it can pull these random connections and just put things together. And that's why dreams are so bizarre sometimes, because there's no order to it when you're sleeping. It's just these random thoughts popping in and making this dream. So if you've ever had a dream where you realize you're dreaming, in the dream, you come to the realization, oh my God, I'm in a dream. That's what lucid dreaming is.
Oh.
It's the awareness that you're dreaming.
Okay.
While you're in the dream.
Okay. All right. That makes a lot of sense now. Okay.
Now, it's the awareness is there, and for people who have experienced this, and I'm going to go into a lot of deeper detail into this, but it's kind of a crazy thing, because you're like, wow, I realize I'm in a dream right now, that I'm sleeping and I'm in a dream. It's just that awareness, and that can be kind of freaking in and of itself. And I know just a couple of episodes ago we were talking about movies about dreams.
Yes.
And Inception was one of those movies.
Yes.
And there's a quote from there that I pulled out. I can't remember. I can't remember the character's name, the main character in Inception.
Oh, that Leo played?
Yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He says, this is the quote, well, dreams, they feel real. I'll start again. Going to mess up the read. Well, dreams, they feel real while we're in them, right? It's only when we wake up that we realize that something was actually strange.
What point did he say that in the movie, though?
I think, and I'm just going to be guessing here, I think it was when he was explaining to
Ellen Page
okay, how things worked, and when he was introducing her to this dream state.
Yeah.
So really, because when you're in a dream and you don't know you're dreaming, and that's again, we'll get into nightmares in a little bit, but
okay,
it's your subconscious mind is just being active. It can be random things. It can be very crazy, but if you're not aware that you're dreaming at the time, your mind feels like it's real because that's what you're experiencing.
Got it.
Okay. So we're going to go back. The very first record of lucid dreaming appears in the treatise on dreams written by ancient Greek philosopher Aristotle. In it, he describes an instance of self-awareness during his dream state, which, again, I'm sure as long as humans have been on Earth, they've had these experiences. So again, when you sleep, your brain cycles through rapid eye movement, REM sleep, and non-REM sleep. In REM sleep, your brain is extremely active. Your heart rate and your eye movements also increases. And again, lucid dreaming occurs during REM sleep state. In that lucid dream, you know that you're dreaming. You know you're dreaming. You're just aware that it's a dream. And in a study done by Healthline.com, about 55% of people have experienced one or more lucid dreams in their lifetime. However, frequent lucid dreaming is rare. Only 23% of people have lucid dreams at least once a month. In another study done in the late 60s, volunteers were observed in a sleep lab, and they were asked to give a signal when they were lucid dreaming.
Okay.
So picture this. They're in a sleep lab.
Yeah.
And I have I pulled this from a book that I had. I did an assignment during my grad work on lucid dreaming. And there was my go-to book on this, and I should have brought it, and I totally forgot to bring it. But they talk about this study. So they have people in the sleep lab. They have them hooked up, like you would when you're going for a sleep study in a lab.
Right.
But they had them hooked up to an EEG, which monitors brain activity.
Right.
So they told them, when you realize that you're dreaming, when you become aware, when you start lucid dreaming, in the dream, squint your eyes really hard 2 times in a row. And the EEG showed 2 spikes on the people who were able to get to that lucid state and give that signal.
Okay, then.
Yeah. It's bizarre.
That is very bizarre.
Yeah, it is. So again, they were aware in the dream that they were sending a signal, and their brainwave showed that signal on the EEG.
What the hell kind of inception are we talking about here?
We're getting into Ascension again.
What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, so it's pretty amazing, and again, anyone who's experienced this, it really is kind of it can be a cool thing. Now, you might ask, well, why would I want to lucid dream? And that might be a good question. I don't know.
Can I try it really quick?
So there are some benefits to lucid dreaming that include, and I'm just going to highlight a couple of things: decreasing nightmares, because when you're aware you're in a dream, you can take control of it, and we're going to get to that in a minute. Mm-hmm. Reducing anxiety and stress, including phobias such as fear of heights or spiders, because you can. What I like to say is, once you're aware it's a dream, it's kind of like rehearsal for life. You could do whatever you want.
Right.
You could walk right up to the edge of a cliff and know that you're safe because you know you're in a dream.
Right.
So you can work through a lot of these anxieties and fears, and once you know you're in control of it, it can't. There's nothing that should be a nightmare that could scare you because you now are aware that you're in a dream. Mm-hmm. With practice over time, you can start taking control of the dream.
That's where my brain was going. Mm-hmm. That's what I think of when lucid dreaming is control, but it's the awareness.
The awareness has to come first.
Right. And then you practice at it to then possibly gain that control.
Right.
Ah.
So, and that's the why. And let me give you a couple of physiological things that happen. When you think about doing something, and I'll use athletes as a good example just because that's an easiest one to understand.
Fair.
So I'll use baseball since I like baseball. And athletes visualize being at bat, visualize a pitcher throwing the ball. Mm-hmm. They go through all that visualization process. And when you think about it, when you visualize it, it actually activates the connections between your mind and the muscles that you use to do those things.
Right.
So you're making a mental connection to your muscles when you actually even think about it. Mm-hmm. So that when you do it, it becomes more automatic.
Muscle memory.
Yeah.
Right. Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, they envision what they're trying to do.
Well, and it's interesting because there's a long list of athletes that that'll probably be good for an episode. Athletes who have used hypnosis to improve their performance.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because Tiger Woods is one of them.
Ah.
Yeah. And that's so think about it. If you can in a dream take whatever scenario you're having difficulty with in your waking state and work through it. Again, it's like a rehearsal. It's like an exhibition game. Mm-hmm. You can just try whatever and see what works and what feels good. So for therapeutic reasons, I for clients who are able to do this, I've always suggested to clients, if you could lucid dream, have that conversation with your mother that you've been dreading having for 10 years,
practice it.
or if you're somebody's going through grief, talk to a loved one that you've lost and work out those feelings. And it does sound a little bit far out there. But it really is the whole purpose of this podcast and my approach as I do therapy and hypnosis with people is to change your thinking. So this is another tool that you can use to just change your thinking in a safe environment without any risk, really. So it's it really is. I call it a rehearsal for something that you're having difficulty with in real life. The other benefit that it could have is that can enhance your creativity. Maybe you're a musician, maybe you're a writer, maybe you're write movies, whatever it is.
Right.
I mean, you could. It's like a playground for your imagination that you can just try whatever you want to try or see or
without the hallucinogenics.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, without doing acid. Yeah, exactly.
What in blazes are you talking about?
No, I have no idea.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. So that's the why. It can be a very therapeutic thing, and honestly, I've been able to do this, and it comes in waves. It's like anything else. The more you practice, and I'm going to give you some tips in a moment, but the more you can practice doing it, the better and more often it's going to happen for you. And I've had my periods of my life where I've been able to kind of do it kind of consistently. And I'm going to say it probably hasn't happened to me in at least a few months where I've had a lucid dream. And we're going to get into specific things you can do to make it more likely that you're going to lucid dream. Now, I can never guarantee it, of course.
Right.
But some of these things...
Wait a minute. This could be some kind of scam, or possibly scam-ola.
But that there are things you can do to make it more likely that you can lucid dream. So let me go through some of those things. One is get more deep REM sleep. If you're a light sleeper and you sleep only 3 hours at a time, 2 hours at a time, and you never get to that deep REM state, it's not likely. You have to be in that deep state, and your body and mind has to be used to being in that deep state, because that's when you dream. And contrary to beliefs, a lot of people say, "Well, I don't dream." Everybody dreams every night. It's a fact.
Yeah.
It's just that you don't remember them, because for some reason or another, if you're not, it's sometimes when you're in that deep REM sleep, and when you come out of it, your memory just is gone so quick you just can't think of it after it's gone.
I can't remember a dream to save my life. Maybe one or two when I was super young, but these days I wake up, I forget anything I dreamt about.
Well, and that's very common for people who have very active minds. And I say that like when you wake up, automatically you're thinking of something, like your day or work, or you have to do this.
Coffee.
But there are but there are things that you can do. Get more REM sleep, and let me tell you how to do that. Get more REM sleep, but there are other tricks you can do to kind of set your mind up to experience lucid dreaming. One is to keep a dream journal. Like write down whatever you remember, whatever it is, even if it's just fragments, even if part of it is, I was in a car driving in a place I didn't know, and my dog was driving. I don't know. It could be something crazy like that,
right?
But whatever it is, even if it's just fragments, just write it down, because what you're going to do is you're going to train your mind to remember. Because as you start to recall these even fragments of dreams, the more you write them down, the more you focus on them, the better you get at remembering them. So like a dream journal or just notes after you wake up. And again, writing it down forces you to recall them, and that's going to just train you to do it better later. One thing, if you find yourself in a dream, is to practice reality testing. And again, this is going to sound pretty. This all sounds a little bit crazy, but believe me, it's really amazing when you can do it. Yeah, it's
pretty cool, I guess.
So reality testing, what that means is that your level of consciousness is similar when you're awake and dreaming. So by increasing your awareness during your waking state, you can enhance your awareness when you're dreaming. So we're sitting here right now. Matt and I are sitting here in this studio. I'm doing a podcast.
Amazing looking studios, yeah.
And in my head, I just say to myself, am I awake right now, or am I dreaming? Just asking that question.
Okay.
And doing that numerous times a day. Just to get your mind in the habit of checking what your reality is.
Okay.
And the more you ask that question to yourself, the more you evaluate your surroundings, you'll end up doing that when you're in a dream.
So, okay. You're kind of like retraining the neurons in your brain to recognize.
To act when you're asleep.
Yeah.
So if you do that reality check, at some point when you're in a dream, you will ask yourself that same question. Am I in a dream, or am I awake? And then we look for signs. And this, again, everybody's had dreams. People, we know things are crazy in dreams. If you're, like I said, if you see your dog driving a car, you're going to think, this isn't real.
Right.
I know I'm dreaming because my dog can't drive yet.
It's a piece of crap. It doesn't work.
Well, he might. Who knows? But when you look for things like that, like these what I call them, just like these clues that things aren't real, or these clues that things aren't right. And there are a couple of other facts that come from that book that I referenced earlier. it's almost impossible to read when you're dreaming, in the dream.
Okay.
It's very if you look at a clock or a watch in a dream, you can rarely tell what time it is.
Huh.
Like you can't focus on those details.
I didn't know that.
And the other thing to do is that if you ever find yourself, I don't know if you've ever found yourself in a dream, and again, when you're lucid dreaming, you're aware it's a dream, but you don't want to lose it. You know how sometimes you're in a dream and it just ends. It's just,
right.
And again, most dreams only last about a minute or two at most. So you probably have 20, 30, 40 dreams a night. You just, like I said, you don't recall most of them. Wow. But in order to stay grounded in a dream where you know you're dreaming, it helps to look down at your feet.
Okay.
That's another thing they found in the study they did back in the 60s, that in order to kind of keep people in that lucid state was to ground yourself. And the best way to do that is to look at your feet in your dream.
See, this is one of the things I really enjoy about your show, Dave, is that I have learned so much over the past 16 episodes of the Motor City Hypnotist.
Right.
That this is just blowing my mind.
Oh, I know.
Lack of...
Oh, great Odin's Raven.
Honestly.
I know. And it does sound really wild.
Yeah.
So, but for listeners out there, this is really a cool thing. If you're able to train yourself to do this, it can be fun, because what you can do at some point, the more practice you get at this and better you get at it, now you can start taking control of your environment in your dream. Because once you know you're dreaming, now you have part of your subconscious and your conscious mind working together, and you can make yourself fly if you want to,
right.
Or talk to anybody you want, or change the scenario, or whatever you'd want to do, you now have some control over it. Mm-hmm. And that really is, and it all comes back to the therapeutic part of it, is that just think about how many things you could work out in your dreams that you're so anxious and worried about in real life. Mm-hmm. And it's a safe place. Nobody's going to get pissed at you. Nobody's going to punch you in the face.
Right.
Well, maybe in the dream, but it won't be real. And if you know you're in a dream, you don't care anyway.
Right. Depends on what you're doing to get punched in the face.
Well, that's true too.
What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, it could be that. So now I do want to lay out this disclaimer quickly. If you happen to suffer from any serious mental health conditions, such as schizophrenia or any type of delusional disorders, I'm not saying it could be dangerous, but it's just, I would recommend talking to a doctor before you attempt this. And again, overall, I think it's probably totally safe, but just as a disclaimer, if you're sometimes delusional in your waking state, and it might cause some issues for you.
It's a good disclaimer, and just be safe.
Yeah, and that's all I want people to do is be safe, and just, just not get yourself into a situation where you're thinking more than you should be if you're trying not to.
Right.
Now, I know this all sounds like a movie. It sounds kind of like Inception, like, oh, this is crazy. You can go in, you're dreaming, but if you use this right, it can be very beneficial for addressing a lot of the things I mentioned earlier. So I know we're close to being done for this episode, but I know in the last episode, or a couple of times ago, I'm going to put in the Hypnosis for Insomnia link in this show notes for this episode. Because again, I know people probably thinking, well, geez, I have a hard time sleeping anyway. How I'm not even going to get to the point of dreaming. But if you pick up my Hypnosis for Insomnia, let's take it one step at a time. Let's get you sleeping well every night, and then we can kind of focus on getting into the strategies of trying to lucid dream. Right. And if you have any questions or anything, or even if you want to check in with me on social media. Tell me if you've had lucid dreams. Tell me if there's something that you do that works for you, that makes it happen. I won't shoot down things.
No, don't shut me up.
Yeah, I won't shut you up. But it'd be interesting to see what other people do and what their strategies are for this. Because I know there's a lot of people that are able to lucid dream, pretty much consistently, and they've gotten to that point.
Great.
So it's something I'm going to remind myself to try to practice more, even because I like I said, it comes in waves for me. If I'm really thinking about it and focused on it, it's like anything else. Just like working out. Once it becomes a habit, it's a habit. Once you're out of it for a while, it's hard to get started.
Got it.
So that's it for this episode, people. Lucid dreaming. It's very fascinating. And again, it really is cool if you can get there. So give it a try and let me know how you do.
Keep following that white rabbit.
Yep. Follow the white rabbit. And if your name is Neo, you get bonus.
Yeah, there you go.
So our next episode, again, we're going to have a little bit of fun. Well, I don't know if it's fun. We did a top 10 movie countdown a while back. We're going to do one next episode, top 10 movies that make men cry.
Oh, shit.
And it's a little bit fun to do a countdown like that, but it's also we're going to address emotions and how that plays into it.
You got a big shoulder, it's going to get cried on.
Well, exactly. That's fine. So yeah, come back next episode. We're going to talk about the top 10 movies that make men cry. And believe me, it's not going to be that serious. You don't have to cry while you're listening. We'll have fun with it as well. So,
all right,
everybody, thanks for checking in. Look for me on the next episode. Change your thinking, change your life. Laugh hard, run fast, be kind. I will see you soon.